Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Invbots investment competition tutorial. Today's sections, we're going to talk about Stock Connect. So first, let's have a brief introduction of Stock Connect. Stock Connect is a mutual market access program that linking the Hong Kong and mainland China equity market. HKEX and China Clear is a two main exchange center. And then on the left-hand side, you can take a look at that's how Stock Connect works. Like mainland investor can buy and sell a specific range of Hong Kong stocks through the southbound trading. Yeah, and then the Hong Kong and foreign investor can also buy and sell specific stocks through the northbound trading. Yeah, and then through this stock program, you can ensure the minimum market changes to the regulatory structure in each market. And then you may concern about what kind of stocks you can buy actually. So in the Shanghai Hong Kong Stock Connect, there constitute stocks of SSE 180 index and SSE 380 index, as well as the SSE listed A share with corresponding H share listed on the SEHK. Unless they are not traded in RMB and under which alert, you can still exchange those stocks. Yeah, and then there are about 570 SSE shares, which contribute 85% of the market capitalizations, and more than 318 SEHK shares, which contribute 82% of market capitalizations. And in the Shenzhen Hong Kong Stock Connect, the constituents of SZSE Component Index and SZSE Small or Mid Cap Innovations Index. And the market capitalization of those stocks have to be larger than or equal to RMB $6 billion. Yeah, and there are about nearly 900 SESE shares and 400 Hong Kong shares can be exchanged through the Shenzhen Hong Kong Stock Connect. And then these are the examples of the eligible shares. And if for more details, you can access to the link below to take a look of more information. And then there are actually a quota system. How it works is actually it limits the maximum net buy value of cross-boundary trades under each of the Shanghai and Shenzhen Stock Connect each days. So for the northbound daily quotas, there are actually 52 billion RMB, and for the southbound daily quota, there are more than there are a limit at 42 billion, and we set every day, and it is on a net buy basis, and the daily quota balance is calculated by the daily quota minus buy orders plus the sell trades plus the adjustment. Yeah, and then let's move on. For net capital flow, it's actually calculated by the, for example, like the net capital inflow is actually the southbound trade, like the daily quota minus the outstanding balance. And for the net turnover, it's the net transaction volumes, the buy amount minus the selling amount. Yeah, and the CCAS is the way that the stocks is actually stored in this through this CCAS, the Hong Kong Central Clearing and Settlement System. In this system, in the next slide, you will see more about the difference between these two types of shareholdings. For CCAS, you actually have the economic benefit, but you do not have the legal right to hold the stocks. So this is the main difference of CCAS and paper shares certificate. And then the CCAS is actually registered under the name of CCAS nominees, and investors are the beneficiary owners. Yeah, and then investor the share is deposited into the CCAS with a registered status under the name of CCAS nominees. In other words, the investor don't actually have the legal right of the shares, while they remains to be the beneficiary owners. Yeah. And then the next slide would be the about the trading days. They are mainly similar with just like when the Hong Kong market opens and also the mainland market is open. Usually they are also open for the lockdown trading. Yeah, but sometimes like when there's public holiday in Hong Kong or in mainland, the northbound trading will be closed. Yeah, and then the next slide is about the northbound trading will follow the SSE and SE's trading hours. So main difference is that there will be the morning section is shorter than the Hong Kong market. It's only 2 hours trading, and then also the closing call options is also 1 hour earlier than the Hong Kong market. Yeah, and then let's move on. As well as now we have a basic understanding on Stock Connect, and now we're going to have some data analysis by using our website. Yeah. There is a link below. You can access our website through this link, and you can actually see that the northbound to Shanghai actually inflow by about 2,068 millions today. And on the right hand side, you can actually take a look on the to the bottom of the diagram. You can see that there are some difference in colors. They're interpreting that the daily net turnover, if there's a positive daily net turnover, there will be highlighted in green. If there's a net outflow, then there will be in red. And then the next slide will be about the Shenzhen northbound trading. Today's the inflow is about 900 millions, and it's same as the Shanghai exchange. You can take a look of the daily net turnover on the right hand side and accumulated net turnover as well. Yeah, and then let's move on. For the southbound capital inflow, you can see that recently there are actually quite a large amount of the net capital outflow. Yeah, and so we have to be aware of the market risk. Yeah, and then the next slide would be the weekly southbound capital flow. Actually, in the past 4 weeks, there are actually net capital outflow. Then it's quite bearish to the market, and we have to pay super attention to this data. And then the next slide would be the week. We can actually take a look of the weekly increase of shareholdings and their representative returns as well. For example, like the stock 2599, they're actually increased it by 2.2 times of the increase in Seeker shares holdings. That's very huge, and then you may be interested in the reasons behind, and so you may want to know more about the companies by the data below. Yeah, and then move on. I would like to highlight this part because the active trading stocks, we can actually to sort the active trading stock by the net turnover. So you can see that for example, like yesterday, Geely, Auto, and then the Xiaomi also have a very large amount of net turnover. And then other than analyzing the net turnover, we can see we can take a look on the chart on the right hand side. If there's consistently buys on the positive net turnover, which means people in Shenzhen or in Shanghai is actually very interested into these stocks, and then they're consistently to buy the stock. There is some implication on it because they are bullish on this stock, so that they are continues to buy the stock. Yeah, and then these are the way to analyze some data. If they're consistently buy, then it should be good for under general circumstances. And then let's move on, and then we can take a look of the specific stocks on this Seeker's holdings over the total issuers shares. Like in this graph, you can see that from 30th of June, the stock connect of the Seekers actually increased it from 12.1% into now it's about 12.7%. Yeah, that's quite a huge increase in the Seekers holdings. So it may build some support to the stock to the stocks. Yeah, and you can access to our website to see each stock's stock connect's performance and in the change in Seekers holdings by accessing our website. Yeah, and then for example, like the next line, You can just enter the stock code, and then you can take a look of all those informations on the stocks. Yeah, you can see some financial and earnings and some Seekers and Stock Connect holdings. You can click into the website and to have a detailed version. Yeah, and let's move on. And there are some other sources you can refer to, like the eastmoney.com. You can actually take a look into the daily changes in the southbound or northbound capital inflow or outflow. Yeah, that would build you some, that can give you some insight on the daily changes. And then, for example, like if there is continuously some some huge amount of inflow southbound and then southbound inflow, so it may have to be bullish on that day. Yeah, there are more capital in the market. Is supposedly it is good to the market. Yeah, and then for the next slide, you can take a look of the historical data on the capital inflow and outflow as well. For example, like in the start of the July, there's actually a huge net capital outflow in the southbound, and that's very bearish to market. Yeah, and then that's how you interpret the data. Yeah, and also let's move on to some expansions arrangement. For example, like we can take a look. That's like for the star market. The smart star market listed share that's constituent stocks of SSE 180 index and SSE 380 index, or have H share counterparts listed in Hong Kong, are actually now eligible for the northbound tradings under Shanghai Hong Kong Stock Connect. Yeah, and next slide, we can see that for the biotech company, you have pre-revenue biotech company are listed in Hong Kong that are eligible constituent stocks of Hang Seng Composite Index and have corresponding A share listed on the SSE or the SSE are actually eligible for southbound tradings under existing Stock Connect arrangement. Yeah, and that's the end of my presentations.